Good evening. Before we go live, we want to welcome you here today. Our formal ceremony will begin momentarily. Royal Lions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Ken Kitts, President of the University of North Alabama. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the faculty and staff of UNA, I welcome you to this, our fall commencement ceremony honoring bachelor's degree graduates of the Anderson College of Nursing and Health Professions and the College of Education and Human Sciences. Please rise as we bow our heads for a moment of silence and give thanks for our many blessings this year and for these special graduates here this afternoon. Thank you, and amen. And now for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. No, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave.
Please be seated. This ceremony is a very special time for each graduate and his or her family and friends. To maintain the dignity of this distinctive occasion and out of respect for all of our graduates, we ask that you please silence cell phones now and remain seated until the ceremony has ended so that each graduate's name can be heard when announced. Commencement is a celebration of academic attainment, and to bring greetings to you from the academic community of the University of North Alabama, it is my pleasure to introduce you to our Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Ross Alexander. Dr. Alexander.
Thank you, President Kitts, and thank you for everything you do for UNA and our fine students. Congratulations, graduates. I too welcome and thank you for attending this ceremony. The faculty, staff, and I commend and applaud your momentous accomplishment. Graduates, in earning your baccalaureate degree, you join an elite group, as only roughly 1/3 of all Americans possess a bachelor's degree. Perhaps more poignantly, as the overwhelming majority of you are from Alabama and will forge careers in Alabama, only roughly 1/4 of Alabamians possess a baccalaureate degree. Therefore, you are all very well positioned to excel in the workforce both now and in the future because of your UNA degree. I would argue, in fact, that in attaining your UNA degree, that you are better prepared than your peers who graduated from other universities. You have all had a transformational student experience, the hallmark of a UNA education. Elements of a UNA transformational student experience include education abroad, study away, internships, undergraduate research, service learning, and volunteerism, among many others. Many of you undertook and completed multiple of these experiences during your studies. Your classroom education coupled with these applied experiences make you better prepared than most to enter the workforce, pursue graduate education, and accelerate your careers. Importantly, your UNA education and degree has prepared you to deal with change, challenges, and an ever-evolving economic marketplace. Recent trends and data indicate that most of you will have 4 or 5 different jobs before you turn 30 and several different careers during your working life. Your UNA degree and education will empower you to excel in this environment of constant change. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not tell you that we want you back as graduate students. At the appropriate time, please discover and enroll in one of our workforce-focused, flexible, and primarily online graduate degrees that can further accelerate your careers. Thank you, congratulations, and roar Lions.
Thank you, Provost Alexander. I want to introduce now several people who are celebrating this special occasion with you and ask that these individuals stand when their names are called. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Starting with our stage party, Mr. Ron Patterson, Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Dr. Phil Bishop, our guest speaker, who will be formally introduced later in the program. Dr. Ross Alexander, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Katie Kinney, Dean of the College of Education and Human Sciences. Dr. Vicki Pierce, Dean of the Anderson College of Nursing and Health Professions. Dr. Mary Lee Gillespie, President of the UNA Alumni Association. And Dr. Laura Williams, this year's Faculty Senate President. Please join me in welcoming the stage party. I also want to recognize and thank Dr. Eric Kirkman, Director of Kilby Laboratory School and Assistant Professor of Education, for providing the wonderful music for these ceremonies. Dr. Kirkman, thank you. And now to our guest speaker. We are most honored to have with us this evening a remarkable gentleman who has literally traveled the world to engage in teaching and research. Dr. Phil Bishop studied engineering and science at the U.S. Naval Academy and later earned a doctoral degree in physical education with a specialty in exercise physiology from the University of Georgia. Dr. Bishop's resume is so impressive that it encompasses 80 pages of academic accomplishments over his professional career. A summary biographical sketch is included in your program, but it is only a snapshot of his contributions in the field of education. He has spoken throughout the U.S. and in 34 different countries, and his research has included collaborations with NASA, OSHA, branches of the U.S. military, and universities abroad. During his 32-year tenure as a professor at the University of Alabama, Dr. Bishop was a mentor to some of our kinesiology faculty members as they completed their doctoral studies, and the high regard for his expertise in the field made him an obvious choice as an advisory board member and consultant in the creation of UNA's new PhD program in exercise science and health promotion, a degree that will launch next fall. Dr. Bishop and his wife Brenda have 5 children, and they make their home in Northport, Alabama. In addition to his many academic endeavors, he is active in Christian ministry and enjoys deer hunting. Please join me in giving a warm University of North Alabama welcome to Professor Phil Bishop.
Congratulations, graduates. I am thrilled to be here with you. About 15 or so years ago, I figured out graduations are one of the few times in life where everyone is happy. The families here, the ones paying tuition, are happy that tuition and room and board is going to go down, right? The faculty, many of them are online with us right now. They're happy another semester is finished, and you are part of their product that they produce, and so they're happy. And then you rightfully ought to be ecstatic. This is a major milestone. I graduated in 1972 with my bachelor's, and I still remember it. And so I hope many of you will remember tonight as well. Now, we have 3 groups that I want to recognize this evening. The first are the families. You have done well to get your students to this point, and congratulations. I do have a bit of advice. As the president said, we have 5 children, all of whom have their undergraduate degree. We learned that once a student gets up to college at least, never give unsolicited advice. Now you're thinking, well, he's a hypocrite, he's giving us no, my advice is solicited. Thank you. We remind each other from time to time, unsolicited advice is like trying to teach a pig to sing. It doesn't do any good, and it irritates the pig. Let me encourage you to continue to encourage your graduates here. Some of you are great encouragers, you're great cheerleaders, but some of you dads may not be quite as good. I was speaking in Adelaide, Australia about 19 years ago, and I left the venue where I was speaking. I walked outside, and her voice told me, it said, Phil, you treat encouragement as if it's very expensive. And I looked around, who's talking? And I think it was God telling me, encouragement is inexpensive. You dole it out as if it's very expensive, but it's not. Be generous with your encouragement, families. And then the third point for families is sacrificial listening. I'm not sure all that means, but just put those 2 words together and let them work together. All right, for the faculty, the professors who are tuned in, let me tell you, you have tremendous influence. This is part of your product. You've influenced these students. Someone has said the 3 square feet behind the podium of a university classroom is the most influential real estate in the world, and I believe that's true. Point 2 for professors. Every student, every colleague, and even the deans are eternal beings. Your influence extends to eternity. Point 3 for faculty. The Irish playwright and poet William Butler Yeats said this. He said, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And I know for faculty, when I see that light come on, when I see that flame flicker, that's the biggest reward I ever get. So faculty, keep it up. And then for faculty, sacrificial listening. Now, my major advice is for you graduates. You have learned a lot in the last 4 years or 5 years, however long you've been here. And let me encourage you, never stop learning. Never. Point 2, learn to ask questions, preferably good questions. Now, some of you learned that here, and that's fantastic. But in the rest of your life, you're going to meet some wonderful people who know a great deal, who have a great deal to share with you. Don't miss the opportunity. Learn to ask questions. Now, your next task, you're going to walk out of here as graduates, your next task is going to be to figure out, to discern your calling. What are you called to do? It may be related to your major, particularly if you're a nursing major, but it may not be. Who is calling you and what are they calling you to? Some of you will be called to graduate school. And we've just heard UNA is going to have a PhD, is starting a PhD in exercise science and health professions. Give it some thought. I remember when I was called to graduate school, and it was a snowy day. It just had snowed, and I was driving down the highway by myself, and it was very overcast, and the clouds parted, and the sun hit the snow, and I thought, I'm going to graduate school. So that's a possibility. Now, as you begin your calling, your vocation, in Latin, your vocare, I want you to love it, but I don't want you to marry it. Now hear me. Love it. I want you to love your profession like I did, but I want you not to marry it. Now, you married people in the crowd, what's the difference between love and marriage? Commitment. That's it. And I remember on the 30th of January, 2016, I was out in the woods. It was 28 degrees, January 30th, and beautiful, clear, sunny morning as the sun came up over the horizon. I was there before daylight. And I remember looking at a piece of land and thinking, I have to give up this piece of land and move away. I'm not going to see this land anymore. I was about to retire, and I loved my job. I still love students. And God, I think, spoke to me and said, love it, don't marry it. All right. One of my best friends is a finance professor, an expert in finance, and he gives this piece of advice to you and everybody else. Whatever your vocation, whatever your earnings, keep your yearnings beneath your earnings. Okay? If you make a lot of money, you can have high yearnings. If you make less money, you can still have yearnings. They just got to be beneath your earnings. It will pay off in the long run. All right, roadblocks. You may have encountered roadblocks in your life already. But if you haven't, they are right around the corner. Now let me tell you, roadblocks may be there for a good reason. If the bridge is out, roadblocks are a good thing. The great Christian Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard had this to say: we understand life backwards, but we must live life forwards. So when you get to be my age, you'll be able to look back and see that those roadblocks were there for a reason, and roadblocks aren't always bad things. All right, number 7 for you, sacrificial listening. In your age group, 18 to 30, the number one cause of death are accidents. But the number two cause of death in your age group are suicides. People need people who will listen. Practice sacrificial listening. All right, my last point for you. The greatest teacher of all time was speaking to his graduate students, and he said this: what does it profit a student to earn a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, and lose her own soul? So think about your soul. Look to educate your soul. All righty. All of us, myself included, would do well to follow the 5 points of the UNA mission. Point 1, be innovative. Be innovative. Look for new and better ways to think, to do things, to accomplish things. Be inclusive. I did a bunch of research with human subjects, human participants. And the biggest message I got from all these hundreds of studies with humans is God made every human different. If we are inclusive, we can learn from people with less education than us. We can learn from people with more education, different education. We can learn from people from other cultures. We can learn from people with other ethnicities, other races. Be inclusive. Mission point number 3, be engaged. If you don't pay attention, you will regret it. Stay engaged. Be evolving. Our world is evolving. When I started as a professor, he mentioned these publications. My first publications as a professor was typed on a typewriter and put in the U.S. Postal Service and mailed. And that has not been done in over 30 years, I assure you. So be evolving. And then the last point of the mission statement for UNA, be global. Now, you may not have the opportunity to travel. You may not. We're in COVID times. Nobody can travel right now. But you can still be global. Back to being inclusive. When you meet a person from another culture, be global. You can get on the internet and be global. Be global. All right. I would like to end with a quote from the Reverend Francis Chan. Our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that don't really matter. I've just got 2 more words for you, and that is, roar lions!
Thank you very much, Dr. Bishop, for those wonderful remarks. It is my pleasure to again introduce Dr. Eric Kirkman for a musical selection.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean wide with America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountain to the prairie to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
The Keller Key Award was established as a memorial to the late President James Albert and Mrs. Mara Glenn Keller. A Keller Key is presented at each commencement to the honor graduates who, on the basis of having earned all credits for the bachelor's degree at this university, have made the highest scholastic average. The recipient for this ceremony, Darby A. Madden, is graduating in absentia and will therefore not be present to receive this award. Ms. Madden completes the Bachelor of Science in Education degree with a major in elementary education. For this semester, qualifying for the Keller Award meant having a grade point average of at least 4.0 on a scale of 4.0. We will ensure that the award is mailed to Ms. Madden. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Madden.
The deans will now present candidates for the conferral of their respective degrees. Again, please remain seated until the ceremony is ended so that each graduate's name can be heard when announced. Would Dr. Vicki Pierce, Dean of the Anderson College of Nursing and Health Professions, please come forward?
Would candidates for bachelor's degrees in the Anderson College of Nursing and Health Professions please stand and remain standing? President Kitts, it is with great pleasure that I present these candidates to you for the conferral of their bachelor's degrees.
Through the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees for the University of North Alabama, I now bestow upon each of you your respective bachelor's degree. Please move the tassel from the right edge to the left edge of your cap. Congratulations. Would Dr. Katie Kinney, Dean of the College of Education and Human Sciences, please come forward?
As you are able, would candidates for bachelor's degrees in the College of Education and Human Sciences please stand and remain standing? President Kitts, it is with great pleasure that I present these candidates to you for the conferral of their bachelor's degrees.
Through the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees for the University of North Alabama, I now bestow upon each of you your respective bachelor's degree. Please move the tassel from the right edge to the left edge of your cap. Congratulations. Graduates, you are now alumni of the University of North Alabama. And in that regard, UNA Alumni Association President Dr. Mary Lee Gillespie will now come to the podium to extend greetings. Dr. Gillespie.
Congratulations to each of you. I know that this is such a proud moment, and I'm so grateful to share that with each of you. As President Kent said, I'm Mary Lee Gillespie. I was sitting right where you are 24 years ago. Hard to believe, I know. I went on to graduate from the University of Alabama in Birmingham with my doctorate in dentistry. I've been practicing for about 20 years in Muscle Shoals, and I am the president of the University of North Alabama Alumni Association. And I'm so proud to welcome each of you to join in as an alumni of the University of North Alabama. I want to thank Dr. Kitts for allowing me to address each of you. I want to just say a little small joke. It's a little dental joke. What did the dentist receive when he graduated from school? A little plaque. I know, that was bad. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Kirkman. Anywho, each of you are about to write your own great story. The initial chapters of your education are now complete. Our university has given you an opportunity to continue a great legacy. I pray that each of you make the most out of your accomplishments and your hard work where you have received your degree. And I say a big amen to all the families. Please stay connected to our beloved university. Hold on to your passion for UNA. Continue to support the university and the dreams of its leaders. Help be another voice for Dr. President Kitts with his Project 208, and become a super fan for our Division I teams. Please join us over at Rogers Hall with the Alumni Association and get connected to other great people who love our university. As your next chapter begins, I leave you with a quote from Mary McLeod Bethune, a great humanitarian. I leave you love, I leave you hope. I leave you the challenge of developing confidence in one another. I leave you a thirst for education. I leave you respect for the use of power. I leave you faith. I leave you racial dignity. I leave you a desire to live harmoniously with your fellow men. I leave you the responsibility to our young people. I have this great legacy to leave you. It's my philosophy of living and serving. I have spent my life well, and I pray now that my philosophy may help those who share in my vision of world peace, progress, brotherhood, and sisterhood, and love. Be proud to be a UNA alumni, and roar Lions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gillespie. So, graduates, we've all had our time at the podium down front here, and now it's your turn. Are you ready? Let's get on with this business of conferring degrees. Will the marshals please conduct the candidates to the platform?
Colton Byram Knox, cum laude. Michaela Nicole Lewis. Malika Shondez Patterson. Katie Ann Brooks, magna cum laude. Sarah Catherine Slusher, summa cum laude. Susan Renee Falk, cum laude. Mackenzie Cleghorn Grace, summa cum laude. John Adrian Gann. Ashton Brooke Bailey Rich. Megan Kate Rummage, magna cum laude. Mallory Lynn Adcock, Honors College, magna cum laude. Catherine Suzanne Woodley. Bethany Diane Carthouse. Jacob Gunnar Terry. Alyssa Ward, cum laude. Brian Harley Blevins, cum laude. Keely Ann Saint, magna cum laude. Jessica Alexandra Brown, magna cum laude. Mason Andrew Foster, magna cum laude. Howard Walker III. Joshua Colby Moon, magna cum laude. Benjamin Mullins, magna cum laude. Stacy Michelle Kelly, magna cum laude. Camry Jordan Hickman. Scarlett Nicole Owens. Geneva Renee Alexander. Anna Grace Nixon. Shalana Brooke Bratcher. Savannah Marie Moses. Tessa Grayson Surratt. Summa cum laude. Catherine Jo Kimbrell. Tyler Jonathan Luna, magna cum laude. Desiree Dahl. Tierra Granville. Amy Lee Hunt. Mariah McCafferty. Taylor A. Farmer, magna cum laude. Natalie Joy Holly, summa cum laude. Anna Grace Pounders. Natalie Michelle Talley. Lakin Elise Berry, cum laude. Megan Elise Hall, summa cum laude. Carly Marie Cruz. Bryn Maylee King, cum laude. Alexa Gabrielle Disharoon, Honors College, summa cum laude. Addie Grace Nelson. Caitlin Fields, magna cum laude. Samantha Claire Keel, cum laude. Preston R. Montgomery, magna cum laude. Megan Elizabeth Jones, cum laude. Madison Ann Daniel. Brianne Chapman. Hayden Jerome Lovelady. Madison Brianne Butler. Logan Elizabeth Wren, Honors College, summa cum laude. Brooke Ashley Cantrell. Ashley Baltrushaitis. Tia Scherer. Megan Morgan Parker, magna cum laude. Emma Grace Riley. Camilla Janae Johnson. Taylor Ray Conroy. Benjamin Caleb Magnuson, Honors College. Shiatani Monique Bowens. Catherine Faye Thomas, magna cum laude. Taylor Augusta Talent. Tanner Allen Boyd. William Waitman Watkins. Shaniqua Sloan. Ronald Zachary Devin Leps, cum laude. Keely Deanne Templeton. Victoria Cherie Fetter. Chrislyn Caroline Wood. Emily Nicole Sneed, cum laude. Lyndon B. Harris, Jr. Kelly L. Lewis. Jacob Borden. Caitlin Cheyenne Kennedy, cum laude. Carly Beth Cook, Honors College, summa cum laude. Michaela Kelsey Lawler, cum laude. Ryan Shelby Brown, magna cum laude. McKenna M. Ray, summa cum laude. Lucas Allen Johnson. Shelby Wall, magna cum laude. Xavier Marquise Jones Battle. Jordan Lee Wheelis. Jason Michael Alexander Tucker. Anna Cagle Ritchie. Keely Wynn Benefield. Ethan Thomas Turbeville. Anna Brooke Jeffries, cum laude. Ashlyn D. Gaylord, Honors College, summa cum laude. William Tyler Terrell. Hannah Naylor, magna cum laude. Lacey Marine Pezzaniti, summa cum laude. Kayla Noel Butler. Quentin Stewart, cum laude. Xavion Moss, cum laude. Destiny Torybrook Robinson. Lindsay Anderson. Jesse Tyler Pope. Kennedy Grace Harris. Kylie Scott Hansey Higdon. Melissa Purnell Allen. August Grace Stansel. Maggie Pace. Samantha Jewel Parrish. Lindsay Aaron Hale. Sydney A. Malone. Elizabeth Salgado, cum laude. Mary Elizabeth Higgins. Jose Johnny Alba, cum laude. Tori Faith Grubbs, cum laude. John Michael Burrow, cum laude.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me as we honor all these graduates with a well-deserved round of applause. Get up and look at these people that love you, here to support you. Thank you. If everyone would please be seated. Graduates, truly, we commend you for your hard work, your personal sacrifices, and above all, the perseverance that have led you to the platform this afternoon to receive your degrees. We're proud of you. We're especially proud of you, given what you've been through the last year. You will always be the courageous COVID class of the fall 2020. Have a very special place in our history and in our hearts. And as you leave this university to go make your mark in the world, I have only one request, and that is take UNA with you wherever you go. This wonderful, beautiful, historic, important university, take it with you wherever you go. And when you run into those fellow alumni, greet them with a hearty, "Roar Lions." We send our very best wishes with you. At this point, I would like to thank Dr. Ross Alexander, Mr. Ron Patterson, Dr. Vicki Pierce, Dr. Katie Kinney, and Professor Patrick Shrimshock for their assistance with this afternoon's program. We thank you for being here this afternoon, all of you, to help celebrate these graduates. The audience will please rise at this time for the playing of the alma mater, and again, please remain in your place. Please be seated.